Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Amazing Spider-Man issue number 50. We finally figure out who Kindred is in this one. On the very last page, for the sake of conversation, go someplace else if you're looking for spoilers. That's not what this channel is all about. Anyway, I will talk about the book, other than the actual spoiler, and some of the little tricks that they play also. It was very enjoyable. First, let's give credit where credit's due. So this issue is called Last Remains, Part 1. Nick Spencer is the writer, Patrick Gleason on art, Edgar Delgado on colors, VC's Joe Caramagna on letters, Patrick Gleason and Maury Hollowell doing the cover art. Whole bunch of variant covers because this is issue number 50. It's apparently an anniversary issue after the last issue was just issue number 850 by Legacy numbers. So yeah, cute. Very cute. Spider-Man was, of course, created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. So we get a lot of stuff happening to freaking Peter Parker. He keeps on waking up in different places in this one. I'm wondering if he's not dreaming a lot of this. That's real talk. But apparently he's not necessarily. At least one of these realities is true because, well, then again, I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just as confused as I'm sure Peter Parker is. Anyway, there were some serious repercussions for what happened in the previous issue where Spider-Man finally does something not so good. You know, it's funny when, like, you have somebody who, like, the cool thing about Peter Parker is that he's not pure. He's just not. But he does have the good intentions. And it's funny, I know that they claim that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. No, I think it's paved with people who claim that they did things with good intentions. Or at the very least, I don't know. It's a hard thing because sometimes people are just really stupid and they do really stupid things that just a little bit of research would have actually taught them that it's not the right thing to do. So yeah, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, Peter does the best that he can with what he's got. He runs around, he rushes around. His head is always full of trying to save people, and his hands are always full with the people he's trying to save. But he's allowed to make a bad decision once in a while. And unfortunately, throwing Norman into that room where he knew that Sin Eater was going to get him, yeah, that was kind of messed up. You know, it was, and we know that it was, especially in this issue, we figure out. But that's what a Sin Eater is. It absorbs all of the sins. We've seen this in previous issues. So by it absorbing the sins of Norman, this is actually what it was set out to do in the first place. Now, who could possibly have that in mind? Who is this Kindred person that just hates Norman Osborn so much and wants to teach Spider-Man an ultimate lesson? His time will come, right? Well, we get the grave of George Stacy in this. Detective Gracie, Captain Gracie, I should say. We thought it was Gwen. We thought it was Stacy, George. We're not sure. They keep on throwing things at us and keep on giving us reasons to believe that those are and aren't the people responsible for who Kindred actually is. And then we get the last page reveal. Again, I'm not here to start spoiling things, but I am here to point out this was good. This was really good. This was done in a very believable way. And you know, it's funny, with Nick Spencer, he does these stories that are so amazing that he gets people with high expectations. He gives people high expectations that it's going to be an amazing ending. He gave us the answer to this. They say 50 pages, or it took 50 issues to get there. No, there are a lot of smaller issues in here. And also, if you look at the back of this book, you'll see that I can't show you that page, so I'm going to fold my book in half for you guys. It's the second time I'm doing it, this week. But there's a lot of regular issues and then regular issue numbers that also have .lv next to it. .lr, which means that it's going to be something else. I don't know what the LR is supposed to stand for, but anyway, it's basically saying here's issue 51, here's issue 51 LR, here's issue 52, all the way up to like issue 58, issue 58.lr. Like they keep on doing this, so we're going to have a whole lot more Spider-Man coming to us. And it's going to be extremely freaking confusing a year out when people go back to look at this and they say, I don't understand. There's story happening that I didn't see. But the truth is, there are actually two stories here. Oh crap, what is the Spider team called? Anyway, Spider-Man is going to be hanging out with Doctor Strange in some of the issues, and in the other ones, I think the LR, that's the other team, the Spider-Verse team. I can't remember what they're called. Maybe that's the initials for what that stands for. Anyway, regardless. So it is interesting to see there's going to be two separate books, but then make a separate book. Don't just call it LR. I mean, call the book LR if you want. Anyway, Spencer, especially with all the buildup he's done with Pleasant Hill and the two different Captain America books. See, this is a Spencer thing. He tells two stories at the same time. He loves doing stuff like that. It's like he's living in a mirrorverse or an alternate reality in that regard. And by the time he got towards the end of Secret Empire, the story was so huge that he just, and there was so much anger at him. People who just couldn't wait. And couldn't stand what had happened, apparently. And he just dropped the book. He just dropped everything involved in there. He's just like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. I'm wiping my hands of this. So we didn't get the ending that we wanted, but we did get the ending we deserved, I guess. I, for the record, was not one of those people yelling at Nick Spencer. I was happy to see where this was going. Now I have to suffer the same fate as the rest of you guys. I have to suffer in a world where the world just isn't right. Captain America isn't Captain America anymore. He's some different guy. And all of the things that happened throughout the history of the Marvel Universe that Captain America had anything to do with were all done for bad intentions. Go figure. Not the world that I want to live in, right? But that's Earth 616, so that's not me. That's not 1214. Anyway, what I am seeing here is there's probably going to be some people who are going to be bothered by who this is. I hope not. At the end of the day, though, it makes perfect sense. And yes, some people did already predict who Kindred was actually going to be. I think that the trick of it for me, though, is the idea that Spencer doesn't seem to have backed down, which is good. It shows growth and the idea of developing a much thicker skin. Because, yeah, you're going to have people who are going to get angry. You're dealing with a bunch of child-minded people for the most part. When it comes to comic books, there's a lot of people who just have very childlike minds, and they just, don't have any emotion control or anything, They can't just wait for something to come out. Or they can't just bow out gracefully and say, this comic book clearly isn't for me, goodbye, which I've done plenty of times. And I've also gotten mad at the idea of certain decisions being made, but I've given good reasons for them, not just yelling, trash, garbage, blah. Yeah. So what I will say is that I'm really happy that Spencer didn't turn around and just say, oh, people have figured out the ending. Like, when we figured out who Ronan was, people figured out who Ronan was, and then they changed who Ronan was just to be like, you fans don't know anything. And it really didn't make any sense. In this case, it seems to me as though Spencer didn't change who he originally intended for this to be, which makes it especially cool as far as I'm concerned. I like this. I really did like this. This is a great way to push forward. I'm also happy that, the Green Goblin ended with issue number 800, 50 issues ago. So in the previous issue where he comes back, technically 2 issues before that, where Green Goblin comes back, very frustrating. And it's like, dude, only 50 issues and it's Green Goblin again. But that all gets taken away. In fact, Extra gets taken away. Now, I don't know how he's going to get this stuff back. Maybe another encounter with Sentry. But I think it's going to be cool. And I think it's good that we get a little refresher on who Norman Osborn, a.k.a. Green Goblin, is. And we don't really need him to be the Green Goblin again, in my opinion. Not yet. Not for a long time to come. So, seeing him just being Stormin' Norman and not Green Goblin, I think it's a good decision. Anyway, and we definitely don't need more Red Goblin. I really wasn't a fan of that. Anyhow, I'm enjoying the hell out of this, and interesting to see that the first part of a new story arc that's going to break into 2 different comic books, Go Spencer, is just giving us it seems, is just giving us the answer as to who Kindred is, so that we can just move forward with this story now, and I guess try to verify what's happening. Anyway, really good stuff right here. Guys, definitely check this stuff out. It's an extra thicky one for you. Couple bucks extra. I think it's what, $5.99? $5.99 US cover price. Enjoy. I think this was worth it. The dialogue in here. Ooh, and seeing Norman go from here all the way back around to here again in his conversation with Sin Eater. Guys, that alone was worth the price of admission. Anyway, this was a long one. I'll talk to you guys later. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Like the video, watch an ad. Class dismissed.